Hare Krishna. Can you hear my voice? Am I audible? Okay, let's start. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much for joining today's session. We have been discussing from the 12th chapter of the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The chapter is titled as Jadabharata refutes Rahuguna's arguments. Well, we have discussed this many times. I will again mention it once more. Jadabharata is not refuting Rahuguna's arguments just to defeat him in a discussion, in a debate. And so he is just doing it because he is very clear that here is a person qualified to be on the platform of bhakti. He can perform karma, but he does not have to perform karma on the platform of karma. Let him perform karma on the platform of bhakti. Let him perform karma for loka sangraha purposes on the platform of bhakti. So, in this whole conversation, one should not think that Jadabharata feels that conventional reality is absolutely trivial and one should not at all act on the platform of conventional reality. This is not true. The purpose of Jadabharata is to pull him to a higher adhikar, which he clearly saw that he was capable of. He clearly saw that Rahuguna was capable of doing that. So he gives the higher guidance. Like we saw yesterday, the example of Bhagavad Gita, in which Krishna, in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, instructs Arjuna on the principle of performing karma on the platform of jnana. Even though the person is qualified for jnana, but he says still to perform karma on the platform of jnana is better. So, what is performing karma on the platform of jnana? He is having the internal purity, which is a qualification for jnana. Purity manifests in the form of detachment. But still, rather than giving up the Varnashrama duties, he continues to perform his Varnashrama duties for two purposes. One is for setting the right example for those people who may have qualification for karma. And second is to actually, it's a path of safety. Because prematurely, if you give up karma due to some misjudgment, then one's gradual progress in that particular life becomes completely stunted because sannyas cannot purify the person. Sannyas is the state where one can meditate on Brahman with a purified heart. So, purified heart is a prerequisite of sannyas. Purification is the sannyas doesn't purify. Okay. So, to be on the safer side, Krishna says, संन्यास कर्मयोगश्च निश्रेयस करावुभाव तयोस्तु कर्म संन्यासात् कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते. He says, O Arjuna, both karma sannyas and karma yoga are beneficial for a person who has come to the path of jnana. Okay. He can either give up his varnashrama duties and take up to karma sannyas, where he goes to the forest and meditates, or with internal purification and complete detachment, he may continue to externally perform the varnashrama duties while internally meditating on Brahman. This is also possible. He says both are allowed, but of the two, uh, better than karma sannyas is karma yoga. That is what he says. And similarly here, Jadabharata seems to completely trivialize the conventional reality. Not that he wants to communicate to Rahuguna that conventional reality is not at all, you should not at all be acting on conventional reality. This is not what he is trying to communicate. What he is trying to communicate is that, yes, you can act on the platform of conventional reality, but your consciousness need not be on the platform of conventional reality. Your platform should be, your consciousness should be on the transcendental platform. So that is what Jadabharata is trying to communicate to Rahuguna. So otherwise, we will be on and on going on discussion that, don't you think that devotees should also be concerned about conventional reality? There is no question, that is not what Jadabharata is communicating, even though from an external perspective, it looks like that. He is just trying to elevate the consciousness of Rahuguna, and not that he is trying to discourage actions on the platform of conventional reality. So therefore, all these questions of, oh, should devotees completely neglect conventional reality? Isn't conventional reality important? Yes, yes, everything is important. No doubt about it. But the point is that this instructions of Jadabharata should be understood in light of the instructions that Krishna gives in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Karma on the platform of jnana. So which means here, Jadabharata is telling, engage in karma, no problem, but on the platform of bhakti. So while Rahuguna is encouraging, emphasizing the importance of karma, and Jadabharata is emphasizing the importance of jnana, bhakti, jnana, there seems to be a discord, but there is no discord. While Rahuguna is talking about the external activities, Jadabharata is talking about the internal consciousness, of a higher internal consciousness for which Rahuguna was qualified. Therefore, it was niyamagraha on the part of Rahuguna to be performing karma on the platform of karma, while he was qualified to perform karma on the platform of bhakti. So Jadabharata's endeavor should be understood in this light only. Okay. So it is not a question of whether devotees should perform karma or not perform karma. That is not the discussion about. At least from Jadabharata's perspective, that is not the perspective. He says, when your consciousness is qualified for bhakti, why your consciousness should be absorbed in karma? Do whatever is needed for Lokasangra purposes, no problem. But your consciousness should be fixed on the platform of bhakti and on the platform of soul, not on the platform of body. Okay. This is very important to understand. What the conversation should be understood in the right sense. Okay. So sometimes the usage of the words, unreal, etc., should be understood to mean insubstantial. Insubstantial, they are not worthy to occupy so much of your mental space. That's what it means. Okay. So the usage of the words imaginary, unreal, in this context should be understood in that way only. Otherwise, Bhagavatam cannot present contradictory conclusions. Okay. Bhagavatam does not say that the conventional reality of this material world is false. It does not say that. So when Jadabharata seems to say like that, the general principle that the Acharyas say is, whenever in the Vaishnava Shastras, or writings of proper Vaishnavas, the material world is said to be imaginary, one should understand that it means two things. One is that it is temporary, and the second is that it is insubstantial. So it does not literally mean that it is completely unreal, the way the Mayavadis think it is. Okay. So this clarification is given by our acharyas. So that should be understood. So Jadabarta speaking like this also is just a very adhikar specific personal conversation between Rahuguna and Jadabarta, where Jadabarta is endeavoring to pull the consciousness of Rahuguna to the platform of bhakti rather than just the bodily platform. Okay. This is a very important clarification. Otherwise, we will misunderstand the conversation between Rahuguna and Jadabarta. So, yesterday we saw Rahuguna, he said, Namo nama karana vigrahaya surupa tucci krita vigrahaya Namo avaduta dvijabandhulinga niguda nitya anubhavaya tubhyam. O Avaduta, I offer my respects to you, having an eternal form like the Lord, which makes the writers of the scriptures insignificant by its experience of bliss. Swarupa Tucci Krita Vigrahaya. So Swarupa Tucci Krita Vigrahaya was described here as his form by its experience of bliss makes insignificant the arguments of the writers of scriptures. Here the writers of scriptures means of the writers of the scriptures who are themselves not at the platform of prema and who cannot really write about what exactly a personality like Jadabarta is experiencing with his body. So that is the meaning of Swarupa Tucci Krita Vigrahaya. So he says that I offer respects to you who have hidden your eternal experience of bliss in the form of a Brahmana. Then he says that just as a correct medicine cures a person suffering from fever, or ice water relieves a person burned by the summer sun, in the same way, your words are the medicine for me who has been bitten by the snake of false identity with this despicable body. So, Rahuguna is not disturbed by the seemingly discordant answers of Jadabarata as much as we are getting disturbed. Because Rahuguna is understanding the purpose of Jadabarata speaking like this. Rahuguna is understanding the purpose of Jadabarta speaking like this. Okay. Sometimes you see two people having a conversation. How many of you have had this experience? I will ask you. Two people are having a conversation. Okay. First person is asking a question. The second person is answering something absolutely absurd. Absolutely absurd. But the first person is satisfied with the answer. And you are confused. You, the observer, are confused with the conversation. But the person who asked the question gets an absolutely absurd sounding answer, but he is satisfied. Okay. But he is satisfied. How many of you have seen this, right? And you are scratching your head. What is this? Something is asked, something else is answered, but he seems to be satisfied. And you are not able to make head or tail of it. Why? Because, first thing, the two have a relationship with each other. Okay. The two have a relationship with each other. They know each other very well. And when the first person asks a question, the second person is able to see the thought process of that person behind asking that question. So he is not answering the question, he is answering the thought process of that person behind that question. What is behind that question? What is triggering that question? What is triggering that question? Okay. So, like, for example, uh, it is like um, someone, the wife is asking the husband, mm, the wife is asking the husband that, something like, how much, uh, how much is the television? how much does this television cost? Okay. And the husband answers that I am getting Diwali bonus. This is the answer of the husband. I am getting Diwali bonus. So when so what is the question? What is the answer? The wife is asking how much does the television cost? So he should say how much the television costs. But the husband understands the the real the question behind that question. What is the question behind that question? The question is, do we have sufficient money to purchase the television? She does not actually want to know what the television costs. What she wants to know is, do we have sufficient money to purchase the television? And the husband answers, don't worry, I am getting Diwali bonus. Okay. So you see here, as a neutral observer, you are seeing. The question is how much the television costs. And what you are expecting as an answer, 20,000 rupees, 25,000 rupees, some figure you are expecting, some financial figure. But the answer is, I am getting Diwali bonus is the answer. Okay. I am getting Diwali bonus is the answer. And the wife seems to be very satisfied and she goes, and you are scratching your head. What is the question? The answer does not seem to match with the question. But they know the conversation. They have had, that question, you know, that question has, you know, a background of, months of their struggling together with finances. Okay. So they know what the other person is thinking. So when a question comes, the person the person knows what is the thought process going behind that question and he answered the thought process. Okay. So here we are scratching, what is Ravguna seems to be telling the right thing. Why is Jadavarta unnecessarily, you know, refuting it? And you see here, Jadavarta is no Rahuguna is telling that he is telling that just as a correct medicine cures a person from fever, or as ice water relieves a person burned by the summer sun, in the same way, your words are the medicine for me who has been bitten by the snake of false identity. Which means he says, thank you for answering. Your words are acting as a medicine for curing my disease of false identity. So, which means he understood what was his struggle. Huh? He understood what was his struggle and he was addressing that. Huh? Like that. So he says, I will later tell you my topics of doubt. Now, please explain what you have said about Adhyatma Yoga, making it easy to understand since I am inquisitive. Hmm. Oh, Master of Yoga, you have said that the results of action seen in this world are simply based on convention and cannot be correctly said to be the highest truth. My mind is bewildered by this. I am not able to understand it completely. Can you please communicate clearly? Hmm. So, so here, Jadabharta answers. He says that, O king, he is addressing him as Parthiva, which means a transformation of earth. So Parthiva also means king. Parthiva also means that which is transformed, that which is a transformation of earth. Okay. Or matter, you can say. Hmm. This carrier who is a transformation of earth, carrier means the palanquin bearer, the human being. This carrier who is a transformation of earth, okay, it has reached 100. I will have to send. Somehow I every day feel that it will never reach 100, but somehow it reaches 100. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back. So he says, this carrier who is a transformation of earth walks on the earth for some reason. Okay. And above his feet are ankles, calves, knees, thigh, waist, chest, neck, and shoulders. And above the shoulders is the wooden palanquin. And all of these are transformations of earth. Okay. And in that palanquin is the person called the king of Savira, who, blinded by illusion of false identity, thinks that I am the king of Sindhu. So, by addressing the king as Parthiva, or a transformation of earth, he is indicating, Jadabharta is indicating that your conventional existence is insubstantial. Using another technique, Bharata now answers. This person, the carrier of the palanquin, is a transformation of earth. He is moving for some reason. If he does not move, he is an inanimate object like a stone. This is the difference. His feet, a transformation of earth, are situated on earth. Above his feet are his ankles, calves, etc., which are also transformations of earth. And above the shoulder is the palanquin, which is also a transformation of earth. And in the palanquin, which is a transformation of earth, there is a person with the name the king of Savira. You think you are the king, but this is not actual. This is not actual means this is not substantial. This is not permanent. And that indication is it refers to your body and not the soul. From all the elements starting with earth and ending with the palanquin, to which of these does the fatigue from carrying it belong? Which experiences the fatigue? Okay, this question is asked. So, Ravugana says, I can see that the earth and the palanquin are not tired. Therefore, the feet must be tired. But without the palanquin, we do not see fatigue in the limbs which do the carrying. Fatigue arises for the possessor of the limbs from carrying the palanquin. So Ravugana says, fatigue arises in the possessor of the limbs from carrying the palanquin. But we cannot distinguish fatigue of the possessor of the limbs who is different from the limbs. Okay. You cannot differentiate because of the, Raguna said, gave the example of the pot and the milk and the rice, which is put on fire. Due to that intimate connection, you cannot distinguish the fatigue of the possessor of the limbs who is different from the limbs. So whether a possessor of the limbs exists or not, one experiences suffering of fatigue in being the carrier. Someone may say like that. But Jalabartha says, no, this is not true because one does not experience fatigue on carrying the ornaments of a young girl or on carrying one's young son. Okay, that is not experienced. Thus, happiness and distress are experienced only by one's particular identity. Okay, it depends on one identity. And you, blind with the false identity, thinking I am a king, actually sees nothing. This is your happiness. Those who have no false identity do not have this happiness and distress. Okay. So this is where we ended our discussion yesterday. So let us continue today's discussion. So Jadabharata continues. Shochyanimam adikashtadeenan vishtya nigrannan niranugrahosi janasya goptasmi vikattamano na shobhase vriddha sabhasu drishtaha. So now he says, oh, I am the master and the servants have to be taken care. They have to be corrected. They have to be punished. Okay. That is the duty of a king. Okay. That is the duty of a king. So in response to that, he says, Vishtya Nigrinnan, seizing by force, imams shochan adhikashta dinan, seizing by force these wretched suffering people. Jadabharata is telling. Tvam niranugraho asi. You are without mercy, as if they have been begging you to engage them in your service. You have forcefully engaged them. Vikattamano, you are proudly boasting, Janasya Gopta Asmi, that you are the protector of the people. Dhrishtaha, but simply being impudent, Na Shobase Vriddha Sapasu, you are not glorious in the assembly of the wise. He's telling you wanted someone to carry your palanquin, so you have forcefully engaged them to carry your palanquin. Now you are speaking as if you are a very magnanimous personality by taking care of them, by taking care of their engagement and all that. What is this? So he says, the king had said that ruling the citizens was dharma even without knowledge. Ruling over the citizens by engaging them forcibly without mercy is not dharma but adharma. Okay, that is what Jadabharata is telling. Ruling over the citizens is dharma, but forcibly ruling over them is not dharma. You proudly think that I am the servant of Achyuta. I am an inquirer about the highest truth. Huh? It is only out of pride that you are thinking like that. While you are not at all inquiring about the highest reality. You are not inquiring about how to please the Lord. You are just engaging in the karma according to your nature. That's all. Yada kshitaveva characharasya vidamanishtam prabhavam cha nityam tannamatonnyad tannamatonnyad vyavahara moolam nirupyatam sat kriyayanumeyam. Yada vidama nityam prabhavam cha nishtham. Since we see the constant appearance and disappearance, chara acharasya. Since we see the constant appearance and disappearance of moving and non-moving beings, kshitav, on the earth, nirupyatam, it should be concluded that vyavahara moolam, that the cause of the conventional world, sat kriyaya anumeyam, inferred by your reference to action, kshitaveva is earth alone, anyad, and anything else appears distinct, namato, because of name only. Okay. So, uh, Jadabharat is, again, the argument that Jadabharat is going to present at some point may seem like, you know, Mayavad type, but it is not Mayavad. What Jadabharat is trying to communicate here is that you are disproportionately investing too much of your mental space to something which is very insubstantial. It is important, it is real, it is important, but not to the extent to which you are giving it importance. It should not be occupying so much of your consciousness and mental space. That is the actual communication of Jadabharata. And in order to communicate that, he may be telling something which is not true, which is not completely true when taken very literally. Like he may seem to suggest that this material world is false, but he's not. But Rahuguna understands. Rahuguna understands the purpose behind that communication. Okay. So he's not going to literally take that the material world is false or imaginary. Like many times I've given this example. The father, when he sees the misbehavior of his son, he may sometimes say, you know, if this is the way you behave, I feel that the very purpose of you're going to school is waste. You're going to school is waste. So it seems to suggest that So when taken literally, one may conclude that the father does not want the son to go to school. Uh, but in reality, actually, what he means is that uh, that you should behave better. That is the purpose. So it has nothing to do with the school. It has to do with behavior only. Mm. Uh, it has to do with behavior only. Okay. So, but it is communicated in this particular way. So we have to understand the words of Jadabartha accordingly. Okay. So here he says, your statement that the practical, so this is Rahuguna telling to Jadabartha, your statement that the practical conventional world is insubstantial is not true, since one sees that even the liberated souls without false identity experience happiness and distress from prarabdha karma, and since you cannot deny that you experience fatigue from, since you cannot deny that you experience fatigue from carrying the load. So this is what Rahuguna is telling Jadabartha. My dear sir, your statement that the practical conventional world is insubstantial is not true. Why? Because you see that even liberated souls without any false identity, they are also experiencing happiness and distress from their prarabdha karma. And since you cannot deny that you experience fatigue from carrying the load, you must also be definitely experiencing fatigue from carrying the load. So he says, okay. So he says, true. Oh, oh, something wrong with my. Okay. I think, just give me 1 second, something. Okay. Something is issue with my writing pad. I don't know what it is. Okay. Okay. So here he says, uh, so Ravugana may say, okay, your statement that the practical conventional world is insubstantial is not true. Why? Because even you see liberated souls without any false identity, they also experience happiness and distress. Uh, and and from that prarabdha karma. And you also cannot yourself deny that you are not deny the fact that you are feeling fatigue from carrying the load. So Jadabartha responds. He says, true, there remains a trace of happiness and distress for the liberated souls like me by destruction of the cause of illusion. When a person awakens, even though conscious that his dream of a snake is unreal, for a short time, he still shakes in fear, though it is insignificant. So he says, some kind of, for a Jivan Mukta, there will be a trace of a slight inertia of past material life, slight inertia. Just like a person who has had a terrible dream, when he wakes up from the dream, he takes some time to come out of the dream. There is this interim period where he is transitioning from dream reality to actual reality. He has come to actual reality, but still the dream was so intense that he is still affected by the dream for a short while. Okay. So, like that. However, one who has not awoken sees the dream snake as real. This is like your experience of conventional reality. So, Jadabartha is communicating to Rahuguna that your experience of conventional reality and the liberated soul's experience of conventional reality is different. You are still sleeping and dreaming about the snake. So you're perceiving it as real. Whereas I I have woken up from the dream, but still there is a small inertia of the dream that is still lingering. Okay. So your experience of conventional reality and my experience of conventional reality is different. It is not exactly the same. That is what here Jadabharata is communicating to Rahugana. Uh, By logic, I will now show the illusory nature of the conventional world that is explained in this verse. Again, here, illusory is from the perspective of being insubstantial, not absolutely unreal as the Mayavadis say. We know that the living beings arise from earth and disappear into the earth. Therefore, the cause of the conventional world, inferred from actions purely based on Anuman, should be discerned as transformations of earth only, being differences in name only. So you may call it, you know, you may call something as, peda or milk or sandesh, whatever. It is all a transformation of milk only, all said and done. Uh, You can understand this if your sense of logic is functioning. The Shruti says, Vacharambanam vikaro namadeyam mritiketi eva satyam. The transformations of earth are simply words or names. Earth alone is true. Okay. So which means you may call something a table. You may call something a cot. You may call something as a whatever, window. But in essence, everything is wood only. It is all wood. It is called differently by names only. Then he says, Evam niruktam kshitishabda vrittam asad nidanat paramanaво ye avidyaya manasa kalpitaste yesham samohena krito visheshah. Evam kshitishabda vrittam. What is known by the word earth? Niruktam exists in name only. Why? Asad nidanat paramanaво ye. Because the earth can be resolved into atomic particles. Earth is nothing but so now you say, now he is telling that you see here, ultimately you see this table, this window, this chair, this door. They are called differently, but in essence, they are all wood. So it is different in name only, but in essence, it is the same thing. It is all wood. Okay. Or earth. No, earth also exists in name only because earth can be resolved into atomic particles, which are imagined by the mind out of ignorance. Avidyaya manasa kalpitaste. Out of their combination, a particular object is made. Okay. The whole concept of Paramanu, he says, is a kind of imagination, which is not. But he's just trying to communicate a point. So he says, Earth at least is real. The word Earth exists as a name only. Why? Because it is caused by atomic particles, which are the cause of Earth. Earth cannot exist except for these particles. Okay. So then at least the particles are real. Yes. Oh, These particles have been imagined by the mind out of ignorance by philosophers in order to explain the effects in this world that we perceive. Therefore, particles are also unreal. The reason for this conception is described. A particular object such as Earth is made out of the totality of particles. One should accept the total only rather than the parts. Okay. So now, this is a very unique technique used by Jadabharata. So Jadabharata, here he is telling, you are, oh Ravguna, you are fascinated by this material world, the things of this material world, the places of this material world, the bodies which are existing in this material world. All said and done, they are different only in name only, because all are made of earth. Okay. So the variety is illusory in one sense. So Ravguna says, fine. The variety may be kind of illusory, but at least the earth is real. He says, no. Earth is ultimately made of atomic particles, paramanu. Okay. So ultimately, by various combinations of paramanu, you get earth. So Ravguna says, okay, at least paramanu is real. And Jadabharata says, no. This whole concept of paramanu is, is an imagination by the people to actually explain conventional observations. Okay. To explain conventional observations. So therefore, ultimately, this whole world is illusory. Like that, he is seemingly communicating, but that is not what he is communicating. I remember a couple of years back, there was one student who was getting very, very tensed because he was going to write his 10th standard board exams. Okay, 10th standard board exams. So much stressed that he was unable to focus on preparation. So much stress that he was unable to uh, focus on his preparation. So I just told him that, oh, 10th standard is nothing. Okay. This 10th standard board exam is nothing. It is absolutely not going to uh, do anything to your future. Okay. 10th standard is nothing. So this kind of completely changed his perspective. Okay. And he thought, oh my God, I thought my whole future is dependent on how I do this 10th standard board exam. Now, here is a person who is a devotee also, who is telling 10th standard is nothing. So the person felt, okay, if 10th standard is nothing, why am I taking so much stress? Okay. So he became completely stress free and ended up scoring much better than what he used to generally score. Okay. So what was the purpose? The purpose was to de-stress that person. But the way it is communicated, the 10th standard score is nothing, is an exaggeration of that reality. It's a significant exaggeration of that reality. Uh, So what I was trying to communicate, it's not that it has no value at all, but what I'm trying to communicate is it has much less value than the value you are ascribing to it. Okay. And you are getting stressed out of it, and it is affecting your functioning. So therefore, the purpose was to make that person kind of de-stress that person so that he can focus uh, on the subject matter, he can focus on preparation. Okay. So Jadabharat is telling something like that. So what Jadabharat is telling is 10th standard is nothing type of statement, where he says, look, all the variety that you see in this world is illusory. Okay. Actually, it is not illusory. What he is trying to say is it is insubstantial. Okay. And then he says, why? Because practically everything is made of earth. So Raghunath says, at least earth is real. He says, no, no, earth is not real. Earth is just made of a combination of paramanus. Ultimately, it is just a combination of paramanus. And then the Raghunath says, okay, at least the paramanus are real. The atomic particles, paramanus, they are at least real. Jalabarta says, no, this paramanu is just a concept which is imagined by the Vaisheshika philosophers to explain conventional reality. How the Paramanus combine to form Anu and Trasarenus and all that, and then by that you see us, you make a solid form, and the solid forms combine in various ways to develop different realities. So this is just an imaginary concept by the Vaisheshika philosophers to explain conventional existence. So if Paramanu itself is an imaginary concept, the combination of Paramanus in the form of earth must be imaginary, and the various varieties of earth must also be an imaginary thing. Okay. So, but this is not reality. What he is speaking should not be taken literally exactly like that. It should not be taken exactly like that. But the point is, what Jadabharat is trying to accomplish is, Arey, why don't you come above this platform of conventional reality? I am trying to explain to you transcendental reality. Okay. But don't get caught up with transcendental reality. Many times, in conversations, these kind of things do happen. Prabhupada also sometimes speaks in such a way as to completely trivialize something because you are too much caught up with that trivial thing, and Prabhupada wants to shake you out of it. Okay, so many times he does that. Sometimes Prabhupada, once he told, you know, in order to, because someone was very much attached to demigod worship, worshipping Lord Shiva, even though Prabhupada always has emphasized Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu, Lord Shiva is the greatest of all Vaishnavas. But because he saw that in this particular context, the person was kind of attached to demigod worship beyond a healthy Vaishnava, um, beyond which was healthy for a Vaishnava, for his practice. So Prabhupada said, talking about this, who is that? Was it Vrikasur who tried to touch the head of Lord Shiva and tried to kill him only? I think it was Vrikasur, okay, or Basmasur, right? One of these two. I mean, it's the same person, I think. Yeah, Basmasur, Vrikasur, same thing, I think. Both same. So here, Prabhupada, in that context, he quoted that particular episode and he said, what kind of a rascal god is Lord Shiva that he cannot protect himself from his own devotee? Okay. Now it seems very heavy. Like Prabhupada is using the word rascal to address Lord Shiva. But that is a particular purpose. It has a particular purpose. He does not literally feel that way. He is just communicating because the person to whom he was communicating was completely absorbed in worshipping the demigods. So in order to make a point, he does this. So that should not be stretched beyond it. And similarly, Jadabharata, now he is telling that this whole world is an illusion. Why are you so much caught up in this illusory reality? The varieties that you see, all said and done, that is all earth only. The variety is in name only. And even earth, that is just a combination of Paramanus only. Ultimately, everything is Paramanu. And even Paramanu, oh, this Paramanu is just an imagination by the Vaisheshika philosophers to explain conventional observations. That's all. Ultimately, the very raw material of this conventional reality is Paramanu, which is just an imagination. by the Vaisheshika philosophers. Now, actually, this argument can be dismantled. This argument can be dismantled. Okay. So, but nevertheless, he is just trying to trivialize because Rahugana was caught up too much in the conventional reality and was refusing to come out of it, or was getting completely stuck up in it. Okay. So, for that purpose, he is speaking like this. एवं कृशं स्थूलमनुर्बृहद्यद् असच्च सज्जीवमजीवमन्यत् द्रव्यस्वभावाशयकालकर्म नाम्ना जयावेहि कृतं द्वितीयम्. So he says, Avehi, know that Ajaya Kritam, everything is made by Maya. Namna, characterized by Dravya, Swabhava, Ashaya, Kala, Karma. Substance, nature, mind, time, and karma. Hmm? Dvitiyam, with divisions of Anuhu, Brihatcha. Fine, very fine, big, very big, all these um, kind of divisions. It's all made of Maya only. It is all manufactured by, it is all due to mm, uh, due to Maya. Asat, chasat, cause and effect. Jivam, ajivam, conscious and unconscious. Krisham, stolam, skinny and fat. Hmm. Know that everything is made by Maya, characterized by all these substance, nature, mind, time, and karma. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti writes, one should know that everything is made of Maya, characterized by substance, nature, mind, time, or karma, or distinct qualities like fine and very fine, big and very big, cause and effect, objects with consciousness and objects without consciousness. All of this, all this variety you see, but all said and done, it is all a manifestation of Maya potency only. Like that. So, to summarize whatever Jadabharata has spoken till now. So Rahagana spoke to Jadabharata. He first glorified him and he said, your words are like medicine for me. And I will tell you later about my topics of doubt. Now, can you please explain about Adhyatma Yoga? You have said that the results of action seen in this world is all insubstantial and is based only on convention. I cannot understand it properly. Can you please explain? So Jadabharata responds. He said, O Rahugana, let me now prove the illusory nature of the conventional world through logic. You can understand this if your sense of logic is working. He says, we know that living beings arise from earth and disappear into the earth. Therefore, the cause of conventional world should be discerned as transformations of earth only. They are different in name only. Ravaguna says, okay, I agree, but at least the earth is real. Kadabharta says, no, the word earth exists in name only. Why? Because the earth is resolved into atomic particles, which are the cause of the earth. Earth cannot exist except for these particles. Raguna says, okay, I agree. But at least the atomic particles are real. Yadavarta says, no. These particles have been imagined by the mind out of ignorance by philosophers in order to explain the effects in this world as we perceive. Therefore, the particles are also unreal. Thus, I have proven the illusory nature of this world. Know that everything is made of Maya, characterized by Dravya, Swabhava, mind, time, and karma, with divisions of fine, big, conscious, unconscious, skinny, fat, etc. Like that. Okay. Now, okay. Any quick discussion points, comments, questions, anything anyone would like to share, ask, add? Some questions in the chat box. Let me take that first, and then we will move on to verbal questions, if any. Okay. So here, there is a comment here. Often, His Holiness Bhanuswami Maharaj answers to particular devotee's question could not be understood by all, but but that particular devotee gets the answer. Yeah, very nice example. Yeah. Uh, another question here. How freely are we allowed to take off the role of Jadabharat in our daily interactions, especially when the world around us, either the near ones or the farther ones, are not ready to respect our suggestions. See here, in this conversation between Jadabharata and Rahuguna, uh, there is a very strong rapport between Jadabharata as the instructor and Rahuguna as the recipient of that instructions. The role has not been forced upon Rahuguna by Jadabharata. Jadabharata spoke in this way, taking the role of a strong instructor when he clearly saw the qualification of Rahuguna. Otherwise, till this particular point, Jadabharata had not taken that role of an instructor to anyone. This was completely unprecedented. This is the first time he had taken this role. And because he clearly saw the qualification and he clearly saw that this person was subservient. So, can we take the role of Jadabharata? Yes. If the person is looking forward to be illuminated by us. But when the family member or friend is clearly not looking for suggestions from us, okay, he's not looking for guidance from us, then better we don't take that role of advising because it will backfire. It will backfire because they are not willing to, they are not seeing us as an authority in that particular this thing. And second thing, it's not that when the family member is not willing to take our suggestions, it does not even mean that they don't like us or they don't respect us. That is another extreme uh, understanding. Okay. No, all it means is that that person does not consider us as an authority in that particular subject matter. Okay. So now you see, uh, my now the afternoon Bhakti Sandarbha course is over. And today evening, uh, the unspoken obstacles on the path to Bhakti book will be over. So we are very soon launching 2 new courses. Okay. I am using this as an example uh, to communicate 2 things. One is to communicate the example, and another is to communicate, about the 2 new courses. I'll come to the courses little later. So now my mother cannot expect that, Arey, you are starting a new course, and in order to finalize the course, you are taking inputs from so many people. I am your own mother. You did not ask me for any opinion. So, which means you don't love me. I say, no, that is not the case. I definitely love you. Okay. But that does not mean in order to start a new course, I will take suggestions from you. Because just because I love you does not mean I trust you in every single thing. Okay. Or if I get a question in physics, will I approach my mother? And my mother cannot feel bad that, hey, you are asking so many different people uh, an answer to this, but can't you ask me? Yeah, I will not ask you because I know for sure that you don't remember any physics. It has been many, many decades. You are not the right person. So, therefore, when the family member is not taking suggestions from us, that does not necessarily mean they don't like us. It's just that they don't necessarily trust you in that particular subject matter. That's all. Okay. Or sometimes there could be a history to it where we gave a lot of unsolicited advice, and that particular um, flavor of relationship became very unpleasant. Okay. So the person felt that, no, okay, uh, you know, do anything, but don't give me advice. The people go in that particular direction. Uh, it goes in that direction. Okay. So sometimes we should, so ideally, they should, the other person should push us to take the role of Jadabharata and let them do it at least 10 times before we take that role. Otherwise, it will not be valued. Okay. Otherwise, it will not be valued. They should become, yeah, I am telling you, please guide me, guide me, guide me. Why are you not guiding me? Give me suggestions, give me suggestions. And when they are sufficiently, when they have sufficiently asked, then we should give suggestions. Okay. Yeah, this sounds very much like the Tarkikas of the Nyaya school. Yes. So trying to find material solutions to material problems is not ideal. How am I to accept this when I myself am not advanced spiritually? Yeah, if I am not myself advanced spiritually, but at least willing to progress spiritually and have identified some other people who are themselves progress spiritually, then I can take guidance from them. I mean, again and again, we were discussing this the other day also. We don't personally have to be very advanced. We don't personally have to be very advanced. It doesn't matter how much we know. What really matters is whom we know in spirituality. Hmm. So this sounds very much like, a corrupt system where personal uh, personal qualification is not so much valued, but your contacts are valued. In spiritual life, it is like that. You are not very personally qualified, it is still okay. But as long as you are connected to the right people, you are taken care. So if we are incapable of personally taking the right decisions, no problem. We can always have uh, be connected to people who can guide us properly, like that. These same elements are also fundamentals of the Nyaya Vaisheshika school. Yeah, correct. What is the difference between mind and heart? We use the same term heart when it comes to the subject of love and relationships. Otherwise, mind as far thoughts and emotions are concerned. Well, if I have to answer it according to the Sankhya system, uh, the heart is the gross organ which houses the four antakaranas. Okay, the heart is divided into four parts. Okay, the heart region is divided into four parts. In one part is chitta, in another part is buddhi, in another part is mind, in another part is ahankar. So, so in general, the heart is said to be the place of emotions. Okay, so and that the emotions are generated by all these four antakaranas working conjointly. Okay, is faith relevant only for present? It seems it is neither relevant for past. Example as to how did I come into material existence, or for future whether 100% defect-free relationships is possible in spiritual realm. We often hear the proof is in the pudding. Phalena parichiyate. Although purification is pratyaksha praman, the favor. I mean, this is very, very complex question. Prabhuji, ideally, I would say better you raise your hands only, because you the way you write the questions is very, very, very complex for me to understand. Better if you have a long question, you don't bother to write it only. Better you raise your hands only. I think that would be better. Particles imagined by mind means what? Can you throw more light on it? I mean, in the material world also we have, you know, uh, you know, the concept of atoms and molecules, in order to explain, the observable realities, they are made of atoms, they are made of molecules, and then further, you know, electrons and protons and neutrons and neutrinos and positrons and all those things. In one sense, it is a kind of They speak about it as if it is reality, but in one sense, it is like a kind of imagination only. Okay, like that. I could not understand the example of different wooden things. Their usage is different, but essence is the same. How is this related to the earth example, and what's the understanding from this context? Uh, uh, yeah, I mean, the point he is telling is different. You may call it door, table, etc. in terms of utility, but in essence, it is wood only. And similarly, you may say wood, stone, etc. But in essence, he says it is paramanu only. Like that, he's telling. Okay. Okay. What about Sri Krishna Smarana Spurti course? Govindari Prabhu is asking. Okay, because the topic has come about course. So uh, today, actually, today evening we'll be completing, Krishna willing, we'll be completing the unspoken obstacles course. And already yesterday we completed the Shat Sandarbhas. In Shat Sandarbhas session, we completed the day before yesterday, we completed the Bhakti Sandarbha. So on 18th of February, which is the disappearance day of Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj and Sri Rasikananda Prabhu, on that auspicious day, we are launching two new courses. Okay. One is Tattva Sandarbha in the afternoon session, Mondays and Wednesdays. On Mondays and Wednesdays, we used to have Bhakti Sandarbha, but now that Bhakti Sandarbha is over, we are starting with Tattva Sandarbha. So that is in the afternoons, Mondays and Wednesdays. And in the evenings, Wednesday evenings, we are going to start with Ragavartma Chandrika. Illuminations on Raganuga Bhakti by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's a small book. We are going to do that. So both of these courses are going to start on February 18th. Okay. So please mark your calendars. In a day or two, you will get the posters just to remind you, and we will make a WhatsApp group for these courses also. Um, of course, the Shat Sandarbhas group is there. I will not change that group. But for Ragavatma Chandrika, we will create another WhatsApp group. So what about Krishna Smarana Spurti course? As Govindari Prabhu knows very well, our bucket is not full. It's not at all populated. So we don't have sufficient recorded um, ashtakams to restart the course. So let's see if by the time the Ragavatma Chandrika course gets over, if we have sufficient things in our bucket, then we will start the Krishna Smarana Spurti course. Okay, what about those situations where both of us are party? I mean, I'm not able to connect the questions. So, anyways, how can a liberated person have prarabdha karma? No, a liberated person, if he is, uh, if he is not, if he's on the if he's on the gradual path, not a practicing pure devotee, then he still has prarabdha karma till he gives up that body. And here we are talking about Jivan Mukta, not the one who is liberated and is staying in Brahma Jyoti or Vaikunta, not that liberated person. He is a Jivan Mukta. Can have prarabdha karma if he is on the gradual path. Okay, like that. Okay, there are some hands up. Now we will take, please do not type any more typed questions. We will take verbal questions now. Yes, Madhavi Gopi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandat Pranam.
Prabhuji, some part of what my question you have explained regarding the atomic particles being the imagined things, but like means I was trying to connect it with the science. Like we studied the periodic table and so many elements and so many details of it. So all of that is to be considered imaginary, just as we say the science says that they landed on moon, but Prabhupada says moon is much far away and they can never land. So is it that way we should understand? Like,
No, not like, see, the whole periodic table thing, there was, there have been many, many modifications of this periodic table. You know, the Mendeleev's periodic table has been significantly modified. Then you have the modern periodic table now. So
yeah,
we don't know, 2 decades from now, the concept of periodic table might have changed even more. Initially, they said that, an atom is indivisible, it is the smallest particle. Now there are many, many subatomic particles they have come up with. Then they came up with, neutrons, electrons, and protons. But then subsequently they start discovering, positrons and neutrinos and whatnot. Everything, so many different things are coming. Uh, So, which means a lot of it which was imagined earlier, the current imagination shows that the previous imagination was wrong. So, if you continue it, it is quite possible that many years down the line, that the current imagination may also be proved wrong and something else might come up. So, all said and done, the conventional reality is not wrong, but your understanding of the conventional reality is definitely wrong, or it is just an imagination. That imagination may be correct or incorrect, but all said and done, it is an imagination.
okay, because Prabhuji, they say now, like in the high power microscopes, and means they visualize actually, and then they have decided, okay, this atom has these many electrons or something like that. So
Yeah.
all that is to be considered as just imaginations of the scientists, and there is no actual evidences for it, like, because
No,
it
evidence means what is an evidence for you?
what we have learned. That is I'm trying to
Yeah.
understand.
So it is quite possible that after some times when science improves, they may realize that what we thought of electrons was not actually electrons, it was something else. It is quite possible. So which means the whole concept of electrons and protons was eventually turned out to be an imagination which was not true. That does not mean that the perceivable reality is false, but how you understand that reality, that can be an imagination. Okay. So
Okay.
this, yeah, whether light is a particle or light is a wave and everything, that is your own imagination. We are not telling light does not exist, but
Hmm.
your understanding of that light is an imagination.
Okay, so our perceiving gets modified over a period of time, and that is why it is termed as imagination. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, okay, thank you.
Mother Gail?
Hi, Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
Um, Let me just follow up on that heart mind question. So the
Yeah,
undercurrent is the physical location of the undercurrent in the region of the physical blood pumping heart?
yeah,
Is that where it is?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. It's interesting that they both have four chambers. I thought it was occurred to me.
I,
Um,
I didn't hear you properly, man.
I just, just I just thought it was interesting that both the antakarana and the heart pump, they both have four chambers.
Yeah,
You know. Anyway,
maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe
yeah, I'm
we
sure
don't
it's
know.
coincidence. I
Yeah.
don't know. Actually, I need to get clarity about where Rahugana's head was at. And the confusion for me is because I understand that he is aware of the difference, that there is a difference between body and soul, right?
Mm-hmm,
He knew that,
mm-hmm.
no?
Yes.
So, so I'm trying to understand where Jabbarat was trying to bring the point where he was trying to bring him to. Was it just that Hugana was just focused too much on the body part and not
Exactly. Yes.
focused enough on this fact that there's a soul
Yeah.
behind the
He
body?
was. Yes. 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 So he was very much focused on the conventional reality, whereas he was not seriously considering transcendental reality for which he was actually qualified for.
But Deborah wanted him to basically change his aspiration, no?
Yeah,
For self-realization. In other
yeah,
words,
yeah,
Deborah, he wanted him to do his dharma, but for the transcendental purpose, not just for the sake of doing dharma.
yeah, yeah,
Because Rahugana's the way his consciousness was, he would just be doing his material dharma without any transcendental purpose for life after life after life. It was
yeah.
like a dead end, no? Even
Yes,
it's funny because even though he knew that he's a soul, not just a body, still, right?
yeah,
Still, he wasn't having transcendental purpose.
yeah. He was
Okay, so,
just, yeah, he
this
was
is what
just
was
acting on the
confused.
bodily platform, thinking that performing his duty on the material platform is the highest thing.
Yeah, see, this is what was confusing me is because he was thinking like that, even though he knows he's a soul.
Yeah, he knows he is the soul. He knows that I need liberation, but for that he says that all that I need to do is to perfectly execute my varnashram duties. That's all.
Mhm.
So he says that Jadabharata is telling no. Yeah, that is true. Maybe if you are a karma adhikari, that is correct. Okay. Um, but there are, but you are not a karma adhikari. I see that you are qualified for bhakti, so you do need the instructions on bhakti. You do need the proper instructions on the position of a um, liberated person. Uh, so all of that he is trying to communicate to Rahuguna.
Okay, two things. One is, do we know how Jadbara understood that he was a Bhakta Adhikari person?
That is not mentioned, but definitely because there must have been some divine connection where Jadabharat clearly understood that here is a person who is qualified. How exactly he found that out is not mentioned.
Okay, but Jadbara's objective in life, was it impersonal liberation?
Not at all. Jadabharat was a person at the stage of
No,
prema.
no, I'm sorry, Prabhu. I meant Rahugana.
Raghuna's purpose was probably generic liberation with some definite sukriti available for taking up to bhakti, but which had not really fructified properly.
You're saying that he has some like maybe vague goal for liberation.
Maybe some impersonal liberation was his idea, even though he had some sukriti for uh, to potentially start bhakti. So that impetus is given by Jadabharata here. Sorry, yeah, by Jadabharata here.
Okay. Also, we had said in the previous class that you had a slide up that said the mind, by its close proximity to the soul,
Yeah,
right, is um, is what creates happiness and distress. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
but I mean, to say that it's the close proximity, as if to say it's due to the physical distance between the soul and the mind, rather than saying that it's because of the avidya potency of
yeah,
Maya,
yeah.
which forces the jiva to identify with the mind. I
Correct,
didn't
correct, correct.
understand, but so
Yeah,
why?
there you see mind as the representative of the avidya potence.
But it's saying because of its close proximity.
Yeah,
It
close
has nothing to
proximity.
do with it has nothing to do with physical distance, is it?
Yeah, so close does not necessarily mean physically close. Close means, we say that, oh, I'm quite close to this person. So the other person does not ask how close. 1 centimeter, 2 feet. I mean, close means, the word close is used in multiple different ways.
Okay.
So yeah, so here the closeness or proximity should be seen in terms of identification. So not literally physical proximity.
And so you said that the mind, can you again say the relationship between the avidya potency of Maya and the mind here?
Here, when we say the mind's close proximity, it just means mind as the representative of the avidya potency.
Oh, as a
Making,
reference.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and well, I think I understand the answer to this, that, we were also saying that if people, the question was raised, if people are enlightened by the Shastra, then how is it that they, are committing these pious and impious acts, like
Mhm.
obeying the mind, basically,
Yeah, yeah.
like they're, but so if they are, contaminated by the modes, if the mind is embracing them in this way,
Yeah.
you know, how can we say that they were actually enlightened by the Shastra?
I mean, they are not enlightened. They are exposed to the Shastras, but they are not getting enlightened by it. That was the point. So why
Okay,
they
but
are
that's
not
the
getting,
word. The word that was used was enlightened. That's why I was questioning.
yeah, which
They
means
said,
enlightened from the perspective of the person who is trying to enlighten, not that the recipient is getting enlightened.
okay, yes, that's what I thought. I just needed
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
confirmation.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think just one last thing, Prabhu. When we said that the samsara created by the mind manifests as the material world.
mhm,
So when we say the samsara, we are saying the repeated birth and death, no?
yeah, yeah,
And that repeated birth and death is created by the mind because the jiva identifies with the mind, which
yeah,
in turn makes him have all these desires.
yeah,
And because of those desires, the material world manifests.
yeah, correct.
So this is how I should understand that statement. No?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu.
Shiv Kumar Pro,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavad pranams, Prabhu.
Dandath Pro.
So, so what I was asking, Prabhu, when we talk about this faith, this is just my reflection, Prabhu, and I'm just sharing a question on the reflection. It seems that the faith is always has relevance only as far the present is concerned. In the sense, if I have to project the faith for the past, I don't have a convincing answer of how did I come into the material existence. Or if I have to project the faith for the future, my experience does not is not substantiated it to kind of believe that there could be a 100% defect-free relationship possible in the spiritual realm, Prabhu. And but I also have some admission here that there is this purification that is happening through the process, and which is
Mhm.
pratyaksha pramana, and not just that. According to the level of purification, the quality of relationship is also improving. Is something that I am seeing in pratyaksha pramana, Prabhu.
Yeah,
But still, that the doubt is lingering because it is not so favorable. I haven't had enough favorable experience in terms of relationship to think that. Uh,
fair enough.
hmm,
Yeah, fair enough.
hmm.
But to say that faith is not there in the future uh, it's an extrapolation because we do have so many things.
Mm,
We believe in future also.
mm,
So, you know, you like, for example, for all these years, your mother did not put poison in your food. I'm sure you are. I'm sure that you have full faith that in future also she will not put poison in your food. So so like that. So that we do believe certain things in future also. That is, and it's not like so therefore faith means not just present, but present and future also.
Okay.
Now it is quite possible that for certain things we have not developed sufficient faith because of the lack of experience. That is very genuine, and I think everyone can relate to it. We all have various degrees of faith or lack of faith based on our own experiences, and that is, yeah, that is very valid. Uh, so you can, so definitely, so now that you have some experience that with purification, you you are seeing that if previously you thought that this amount of this better relationship is not possible, but with some purification you are understanding, yeah, even though defective, this relationship is better, but you are just not able to extrapolate it unlimitedly to a
Yeah.
perfect relation without any defects
Yes.
in future. That's fine, no problem. You can take your time. Slowly, gradually, over a period of time, when this trend continues, your level of faith may improve, and you may be able to extrapolate it little more, till the purification reaches a level where you can extrapolate it completely. So we don't have to feel very concerned about it. Whatever is our level of faith based on our experience, that's perfectly fine, no problem. We don't have to artificially push it to a level where it is beyond what our experience says. That's not a problem. That's not a problem.
Okay. Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. I think we'll pause here. It's time. Thank you all very much for your patient listening and your enthusiastic participation. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.